Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things could get totally radical. Now today I will be welcoming the guy who played the young guy who gets caught with the young girl in Silent Night, Deadly Night, Paul Mulder. I'm having him on the show today, and it's my third overall, but second this week of having somebody from Silent Night, Deadly Night for the 35th anniversary this Christmas. I'm having him on the show today to talk about his memories of making that movie. He was also in a Charlie Band-produced movie called The Occultist, and he was on an episode of Walker, Texas Ranger, and now he's in the art gallery business, and I'm going to find all that out today, and I can't wait. So yeah, here is my interview with Paul Mulder.
Hello.
Hey, Paul, it's Tommy.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
Nice to meet you, too. I am great. How are you?
Doing really well, thank you.
Well, welcome to the show. It's such an honor. Thank you for taking the time today.
Oh my gosh, it's my pleasure, absolutely.
So, going back in time, did you gravitate toward acting early on?
I did. I actually got a start in these summer camps up at the University of Utah. They had children's theater workshops or something like that. My parents enrolled me in those, so I got involved in theater at a very early age, maybe like third, fourth grade kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever play the leads in some of the plays?
Actually, not as a kid, but then I had a really unique childhood in the sense that my father was a professor of English, and he was fortunate enough to be assigned some sabbaticals out of the country. Mm-hmm. So we actually went to India once when I was a very young child, and then we went back again when I was a young teenager, like 13, 14, 15 years old. Mm-hmm. And I kind of got the theater bug in India, of all places. There was an English dramatic circle, it was called, and we did multiple productions, and I had smaller roles, but speaking roles for a 13, 15-year-old was pretty good. And that's kind of where I got the bug.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever do Shakespeare?
I did. As a matter of fact, I actually studied with Shakespeare and Company in Lenox, Massachusetts. And then I even went to London on a scholarship at the Oxford School, I think it's called, my goodness, Balliol College, and we did a summer internship with Shakespeare with some really amazing professionals, Maria Atkinson, Tony Robbins, Dame Peggy what was her name? One of those lovely dames. Anyway, it was really brilliant. I was fortunate to study with some exquisite people, and actually ran into, give me a second, I'll think of his name. It's escaping me. He played Obi-Wan Kenobi. Come on, who's that?
Alec Guinness?
There we go. I ran into Alec Guinness. He was performing Shylock in The Merchant of Venice, and we went backstage to meet him, and mm-hmm. He said, "You're Americans, are you?" And we said, "Yes." And we said, "What are you doing here in England?" And we said, "Well, we're studying theater." And he said, "We'll go back to America. That's where you learn real acting." So he was really endearing and fun. So yeah, I had some really good experiences. As a matter of fact, Silent Night, Deadly Night was my first film gig. I had done like little school projects and stuff. That was my first professional set. Mm-hmm. And that was filmed in the wintertime, I think maybe February or March. I remember there was a massive snowstorm one of the days that we had to drive up the canyon. Mm-hmm. And the revenue from that actually paid for my Oxford education, so I was very grateful for that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, something good coming out of that.
Do you know randomly that it was originally, they were going to call it Sleigh Ride?
Yes.
Yeah, S-L-A-Y, Sleigh Ride.
Yeah. So how did the movie come into your life? Did you just do an audition?
Yeah, so I was at the University of Utah. I was in the acting emphasis program, is what it was called. Mm-hmm. So there was a majors program for musical theater, acting emphasis and then just general theater, but I had auditioned and I'd gotten into the acting emphasis training program. And I'm not sure how I got a local agent in Salt Lake, but I had one, and I got a call, and they said there's a movie auditioning downtown. I'll tell you, half my class got into the movie. Maybe not half of us, maybe 5 of us. But anyway, a couple of us got into the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I read for the role that Leo Jeter got, to be honest with you. Leo, do you know who Leo is?
Yeah, I remember who he is.
Leo played the college kid that was playing pool and was
right.
Getting it on with the girl playing pool, and then went and opened up the door and got slashed. Anyway, I read for that role, but then they called me back and asked me if I would do the orphanage scene, and I was like, yeah, why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
And I had to talk to my parents, and I'm like, there's this horror movie, and it's like kind of nudity, and they're like, fine. And I'm like, okay. Great.
Wow. Yeah, I talked to the producer Scott Schneid the other day, and he told me he's really bitter about the experience of the fact that the guy who financed the movie, he put the kibosh on him and his partner from showing up on set or showing up to the premiere of it.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. What was the director's name? Isn't it Don?
Charles Sellier.
Charles Sellier. Yeah. Okay. Interestingly enough, I moved I went to New York after I graduated from school. I moved to New York in 1985, and I stayed there for 15 years. But I did a pilot season in Manhattan. I did a pilot season in LA, and I met. I called up. You said it was Charles?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not really great with names, but I contacted him and I said, hey, I'm in LA, and I had just done a soap opera with Susan Lucci. I had done a TV movie for A&E Arts and Entertainment Network, and I called them up and I said, God, can you help me, please? I need somebody to introduce me to an agent and get some help. Mm-hmm. And I went over to his place, and oh my God, I've never seen such a palatial mansion in my life. It was up on top of a hill overlooking Hollywood, and it was crazy sick. And I don't know where he got all of his money, but a lot of it.
Well, he worked on the Grizzly Adams shows. TV was very lucrative. TV was very lucrative back in those days.
Yeah. Well, anyway, suffice it to say, he didn't really think that there was anything that he could do for me. But I did have an agent, and ended up doing a lot of commercial work while I was in LA. Mm-hmm. I was like, this is stupid. I came to LA to do film, so then I just moved back to New York, and I did commercials and off-Broadway and lots of regional theater and stupid movies and TV shows like Practical Jokes and bloopers with, oh my gosh, I can't remember his name.
I got a couple things down I'm going to ask you about.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, but before we get into that, though, with Silent Night Deadly Night, how was Charles Sellier as a director?
Well, our scene went really quickly, honestly, and I was in a couple of other scenes, but they got edited or cut out, or I wasn't in the focus of the thing. Mm-hmm. There were a couple of scenes. Again, it was one of my first professional sets that I'd ever been on, mm-hmm. and it was orchestrated incredibly professionally and very, fast. Usually, movie sets you show up and you wait around for hours and hours, but as I recall my experience, it's like wardrobe, makeup, trailer, and then on the set, and pretty limited direction. There was a little hang-up on the filming, because, actually the girl and I, she was wearing a thong, and I had, some kind of a thong thing on, too.
Yeah.
And they wanted to get this scene. They wanted to show our feet, our feet. It was like that foreplay kind of thing, and it was like our feet touching each other. Yeah. And they pan up and stuff like that. So he's like, God, we see the thong. You got to get rid of the thong. So it's like all of a sudden we're naked on set. It's like, whoa, didn't expect that to happen. But, we were 99% naked anyway, so it really didn't matter. That was the only thing that I remember. I don't remember too much about the director. I remember the boom operator. Why was the boom operator in there? There was no sound. Mm-hmm. But he was in we were cramped into this little closet, and we did a POV of the nurse or the mother superior, like coming in and slamming the door, and our POV of her and her POV of us, and it was like, I don't know, 7 different camera angles, and we were out pretty quickly. It was freezing. It was an abandoned old building. I think it might have been an old schoolhouse, actually, which is ironic, but I think it was. And I remember being really cold, and between sets, they threw a robe over us. And they were, very professional, and I'd never met that woman that played against with me and never saw her since. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I was looking.
That was somebody.
Yeah, I was looking for her not too long ago and stuff. Yeah, I don't know where she is.
I did look her up online, and she kind of stayed with theater. It seems like there's something. Here's a funny thing, unless you got some other questions for me, but
go ahead.
I moved back to Utah back in 2000.
Yeah.
Been in Manhattan for 15 years. Moved back to Utah, and then ended up doing a lot of equity theater, and then I actually did an episode of Walker, Texas Ranger.
Right.
They ended up moving to Utah. For some reason, I think it was too hot in Texas that year. Something happened. They came up here, and so, Chuck Norris walked up onto set and comes up to me and goes, "Hi, I'm Chuck Norris." I'm like, "Hi, how are you?" That was so funny. But he's a super kind, great person. And, I moved back to Utah in 2000, and I ended up working more in 1 year in equity and in SAG-AFTRA than I had for the previous 2 years in Manhattan, obviously because the competition was so damn steep. But also it was just an influx of theater. We had, I did another movie called Right on Track and Jumping for Joy and Disney and a bunch of family films. They love coming to Utah. So I ended up doing a little, like a coach or a dad or, all these little lawyer or something like that. So it's been really pretty fun doing here. Here's a funny coincidence. Nancy Borganick,
Yep.
who played one of the store clerks. She is actually directing a play that she cast me in. It's an equity show, and it's called Adult House 2. It was on Broadway last year. So pretty small world that she's still in Utah, and we're working together in a professional equity contract. And it's great. There's a few people left, but most of them have moved on, I think. And I came back, and I never expected to come back to Utah, but I ended up coming back. Just random circumstances.
Wow, I would love to interview her. I was looking for her not too long ago too, and Gilmer McCormick. I found out she's a playwright, and she was writing plays that was in this theater company in Utah, and I emailed them to see if they could forward it to her and stuff, and I never heard back, unfortunately.
Well, I'll connect you with Nancy. We're going to start rehearsals January 6th.
Nice.
For the Salt Lake Acting Company. So you can always look her up at the Salt Lake Acting Company too. And then Max Robinson, who played one of the sheriffs, I knew him through school, and I don't know where he ended up. I think he moved, Chicago or I don't even know. I haven't heard from Max in a few years, but he had a great career as a professional equity actor on stage here in Utah for many, many years. I know there's more people that were in that, what's his name? Alvarez. Oh my God, what's Alvarez's name? I think. Anyway, it's funny every time I think about that movie. Oh, and here's a funny story. So I'm in New York. It's 19. You would know better than me, I bet. When did Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 come out?
1987.
87. So I got a phone call from my old agent in Salt Lake, and I'm living in Manhattan. And she's like, "They want to use some of your sides and stuff from the original." And I'm like, "Well, how much are they paying?" And they're like, "Well, a couple days rate or whatever." I'm like, "Yeah, of course, let's do it." So I actually never even saw Part 2, so I don't even know if I'm in there, but I think I am. Do you know?
I think so, because the first 45 minutes is all flashbacks.
That's hysterical. Talk about a cheap way to make a movie, right?
Yeah.
All flashback scene.
I know, that's why everyone hates it, because once the new stuff happens, it's over within 30 minutes. It's goes by really quick.
Seriously. I'm going to have to rent it.
Yeah, you should check it out. Some of the killings are pretty funny and over the top in that one.
Well, I have to tell you that I ended up doing a lot of work in hospitality and food service and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And a guy came up to me about a week ago and goes, "Oh my God, I just looked up your IDMB page and see that you were in Silent Night." He said, "That's my favorite movie of all time." And I'm like, "Oh my God, that's hysterical."
Yeah.
So there's still kind of a following out there for that movie, for sure.
It's a huge following, yeah. And when the movie came out, you know, it was hugely controversial. Did you see any of that? Did it affect you in any way?
I remember hearing about it. So I was a senior in school, I think, when it came out, and or in college, and so focused on graduating and all that kind of stuff that I don't even think. So I remember, I think it was a small town in Missouri or somewhere in the Midwest that really got together and like protested the theater. And of course, you couldn't have gotten better advertising than that in the whole world. So it was the best thing for the producer and the director to have all that happen, because it brought, you know, this funny film to the prime time news or something like that. It didn't affect me. I remember going to a video store in Manhattan with a friend, and we were thumbing through some stuff, and we saw it, and so we rented it, and that was the first time I saw it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Linnea Quigley told me that she was in Mexico shooting another movie, and she got a call from her agent saying, "You're lucky you're not in L.A. right now because there are mothers picketing the theaters right now."
Really?
Yeah.
Anyway, it was really like the best thing that ever could have happened. And have there ever been any other Santa players since then? I don't know. Was this the first and only?
There was one, there was two, there was three, and four. So there's only been 4 Silent Night, Deadly Nights.
Well, I mean, has anybody ever copied it or mimicked it and tried to make their own Santa?
I mean, there are so many slasher Christmas movies out there. Each one is distinctively different. I mean, there's some that, you know, they borrow ideas from, but nothing like in terms of plot. Although before this movie, there was a movie called Christmas Evil, which I've had 3 people from that movie on here this week talking about it. That was a killer Santa movie, but that was about it.
Christmas Evil. That's funny. Cool.
Yeah, there was about an old, a middle-aged guy. He saw Santa Claus and his mother engage in sexual activity when he was a kid, and so he's traumatized from it. So
similar to the Silent Night, Deadly Night plot, then, isn't it? I mean, the guy was corrupt from a very early age. About
yeah, he's corrupt, but the killings are not over the top or anything.
Right. So you think it's more comical? You think it's like more of a
I think Silent Night, Deadly Night, the first 2 at least, are a little bit more comical, but Christmas Evil, no, it's a little bit darker. It was influenced by, like, European art films.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, it's a bizarre movie, but it's a good one. It's on YouTube.
Oh, and then you've asked me a question about Maximum. No, what was it called? I was confusing that with another movie that I did. I did National Lampoon Maximus Optimus. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Optimus Maximus. That's what it was. Have you ever heard of that?
No, and I love National Lampoon movies.
So check it out. It's really funny. It's called Optimus Maximus, and I was in that, and I played a dad in that movie. It was hysterical. The director was over the top funny, and it was, yeah, go rent that. That's crazy wild. But the other one was, what was it, The Occultist, and that was really cool. That was one of, I remember shooting that in Brooklyn, and they asked me if I had ever done, if I'd ever been shot on set before, and I said no, and they loaded me up with like 4 or 5 of those plastic explosive things. I don't know what they're called, but you get a metal plate on your chest, and then you put a blood plate in a explosive thing that's triggered by remote control. And we were playing 3 LDS missionaries that were like FBI guys or something. It's so stupid and crazy weird.
Yeah.
Have you seen that movie?
I haven't seen it in like 20 plus years. I used to see it on USA Up All Night when I was a kid.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was crazy fun.
That's an Empire movie too.
Yeah, it was great. It was a good time to work on that film as well. It was a lot of great New York actors were working on that. A lot of, there's so many actors that are out there that just have they play their gigs, and they're like the backbone of film, really, in a way.
Right. There's people I never saw again too, but that guy the director Tim Kincaid, that guy, oh, what a character he must have been.
He was incredibly fun and like over the top, crazy, energetic. And again, the sets were great, and all of the three guys that I played with that were like the FBI guys, we all got to be friends, and we would drive the set together in the morning, and that was so cool. It was like such a great time to be in New York.
Yeah. Did Charlie Band visit the set?
Beg your pardon?
Did Charlie Band visit the set?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't remember.
Charlie's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
But with the Walker Texas Ranger experience, how was that overall?
That was one of my favorite. I mean, I'd always wanted to play a cowboy, and here I was playing a deputy. I mean, I think it was Deputy Ed Hawkins or something like that, and the idea of like being able to be on horses and stuff, which ultimately got cut. That scene that we were going to be on horses got cut, and it just ended up being a really quick scene with Chuck Norris, and he rides in with the bad guys and hands them over to me and the sheriff. Me and the sheriff are like, taking criminals, and beautiful set, is outdoor. We get on location 5 a.m, the sun comes up, we're in the mountains, and it's amazing. It's so amazing. But I have to tell you that no matter where you are, if you're in LA or New York or even Utah, you go into these auditions and it's incredibly professional, and Screen Actors Guild definitely protects its members, and auditions are taken care of in a timely manner, and you get on location. And again, speaking of that, I'm not like a super huge union guy or anything like that, but I do believe that there's a place for the unions, and I appreciate what Screen Actors Guild has done for me. Unfortunately, I live in a state that's a right to work state.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have as much right as anybody else to work, and there's a lot of non-union work, and it's so tough to make a living out here. Disney, and we get a lot of feature films out here. We get huge, big, major feature films to Utah because we have a great film incentive. We have a 25% back on your dollar invested. Put $100,000 into. I mean, it's only local money. You can't bring an actor in or a director or somebody else from outside. But if you hire locally, 25% of your money comes back to you in tax incentives, so then you can reinvest it. So it's a super great program. I'm going to tell you, so SAG saved my ass once when National Lampoon was filming, and they had only like 500 extras on set because it was a big stadium. They were having a sword fight, or it's basically Gladiator. It was making fun of Gladiator or 300 or whatever. It was hysterical. And apparently something happened with the company and they didn't pay the extras. But of course I was sad, so I got my check, right away. And I was in a air-conditioned trailer, which was embarrassing. Here's 300 extras, and they're all outside burning up in the sun and dehydrated. Anyway. Life of an actor.
Yeah. Hilarious. So what are you up to these days?
So again, I'm really fortunate. I continue to work. I do a fair amount of commercials and TV. Locally, of course.
Right.
Funny, almost every year I've been fortunate enough to have a big enough commercial that like runs during the Super Bowl or something like that. So all my friends will text. Well, so it's local, right? It's like Intermountain States or the Rocky Mountain States or something like that. But I did a hysterical commercial for all kinds of different things, and they end up on the Super Bowl and stuff. role, the lead male role in this play that will be an equity contract, and that opens first week of February and runs for 5 weeks. I'm very excited about that. And then,
Nice.
of course, I've always had to have a day job, which totally sucks, but it's kind of the life that I chose. And I ended up in food service in Manhattan and worked at Lincoln Center for most of the time I was there. I could go get a job in Philadelphia or Delaware or anywhere else, and then come back to my food service job in Manhattan. It was catering, and it was very lucrative. I mean, back in the early 90s, I was making $25 an hour, which was crazy good money for Manhattan, for me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I came back to Utah, when I got married in Manhattan, I had 2 kids in New York, and then I moved back to Utah, and I've been in food service again. I found myself back at the convention center, and then I ran a bar, and now I am the director or manager of food services up at the Natural History Museum at the University of Utah. It's great. It affords me, or it gives me the ability to go on and continue to do commercials and film and TV and theater. So that's living the dream.
Oh, that's great. It seems like life has been, one thing to the next for you. One thing leads to another.
I would say so. I mean, I didn't expect to come back to Utah and have as much of a lucrative career as I did. I came back, and a theater company just opened, and they paid equity contracts, and so I did Hamlet, and we did Pride's Crossing. I did Seeing the Elephant, which is a brilliant play by Terrence McNally, and I've just been blessed. And then my favorite role, I played Henry V in Shakespeare's Henry V. It was like a dream come true role to play. So yeah, I've been very, very lucky, and like new playwrights come through town. Thanks so much. And I did a play called Seeing the Elephant by T.J. Rogers, and he's got some plays on Broadway, and it's been very great. I didn't expect Utah to be. I was thinking Seattle, Denver. That would have been where I would have wanted to have gone. Mm-hmm. I've got a job teaching dance at the Weber State University in Utah, so that's what brought me back here.
That's wonderful that you got all that luck on your side, the way you do. When's absolutely? So when's the play premiering? We
are opening. I think it's February 6th, and it's called A Doll's House 2, and it's based on Ibsen's original play that was actually one of the most kind of controversial early modern plays, and it came out of like 1890s or something like that. It was really phenomenal about women's suffrage and things like that. It's phenomenal. The Salt Lake Acting Company is doing a whole season with women directors, and Nancy, as I mentioned, is directing it. So it's kind of fun. I get to work with somebody that I haven't worked with in like 20 years. It's going to be great.
Well, I'll go on the website and see if I can get her contact info, and if not, then I'll email you.
Yeah, please do. I'd be happy to connect you two.
Awesome. Well, Paul, thank you so much for coming on today. I hope you have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and I hope the play is very successful for you.
Well, Tommy, I want to thank you for being so dedicated and interested in film and helping it keep it alive and being appreciative of what people do to make it happen. So thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I appreciate that a lot. Not a whole lot of people give me credit, but thank you so much.
You deserve a lot. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Paul Mulder. Ain't he a cool dude? People who are very lucky, I'm drawn to. And I'm drawn to people who are lucky. That's great. I'm glad Paul's doing really well. Post, horrific slasher 35 years ago. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past. because the present sucks. Later, dudes.